Hey, friends. It is Sheeta from Sheeta's on the Loose, and I'm here to tell you today why I will never go back to Buenos Aires. Okay, so I haven't made a video like this before because I don't generally like talking bad about cities because I know there's a lot of nice things in every city. If you've watched my channel for a while, you have heard me talk some smack about a couple of cities that I won't go back to, but I've never made a whole video about why I will not be going back to another place. But Buenos Aires, man, I tell you, Buenos Aires inspired a video. Okay, so I went to Buenos Aires in December of 2021. It was around my trip to Antarctica. So I stayed in Buenos Aires extra days ahead of time, and I stayed in Buenos Aires extra days afterwards. So I spent a total about 2 weeks in Argentina. Well, yeah, 2 weeks in Argentina, all of it being in Buenos Aires, except for a little bit when I was in Ushuaia on my way to Antarctica. So, but we're not talking about all of Argentina right now. We are just talking about Buenos Aires and why I had a terrible time. Okay, and I wanted to do this video because the other day I heard someone say that me talking about going to Buenos Aires inspired them to go. And I had to message her like, girl, don't do it. Like, I'm never one to tell you don't go to places. Like I said, I know there's value everywhere, but Buenos Aires, nope. But I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, first on the list, dog poop. Probably weren't expecting that one. It's a little strange, but let me tell you why. In the downtown areas, they have a lot of like downtown living, condos, apartments downtown. The sidewalks had more dog poop than I've ever experienced in any city anywhere. Like, people do not pick up after their dogs. At one point, it's summer down there, so we brought sandals, but we could not wear sandals because we did not feel safe wearing sandals, because it felt like at any point you're going to step smack in, not like old, like fresh dog poop all over the place. It was gross. It was gross. It was gross. It was gross. I was in Buenos Aires. I stayed in some of the same neighborhoods I stayed in last time I was here. I went in January 2019. I didn't have that experience. I should also say that I've been before and I had a great experience. This experience this time in Buenos Aires, no bueno. And if you're from Argentina and you take offense to this, my bad. There was dog poop. You can't deny that. There's a lot of dog poop all over the sidewalks, outside of businesses, in front of buildings, in front of the building we lived. There was all, so people weren't picking it up, and okay, not every day, but some mornings you could see people like outside washing off, like workmen outside washing off washing off the sidewalk in front of buildings. But like, y'all can't pick up after dog poop. I have a new theory that I made in Buenos Aires. And it is, if you do not pick up after your dogs, if you don't curb your dogs like that, you do not care about your neighbors. This is my new theory. If you do not pick up when your dog poops, you do not care about your neighbors. And if the city has a culture of not picking up dog poop, you are in a city of people who do not care about their neighbors. Which brings me to point number 2, rude people. I will not be going back to Buenos Aires because people were unbelievably rude. It didn't typically happen in transactions. I told you a lot of times when you're traveling, a lot of the interactions you have are transactional, right? You're buying something, you're going somewhere, you're paying a taxi driver, whatever. It wasn't really in the transactions, although I'll get to some of the transactions in a minute. It was more like I'm walking down the sidewalk and we're approaching a group of people who were standing still on the sidewalk and like spread out, taking all the room on the sidewalk. As you walk towards them, in most cities, people move, right? Someone will step to the side so you can get past. Over and over and over again in Buenos Aires, they were like, it was like they couldn't even see you coming. It didn't matter that you were coming. It didn't matter that you had to like inch out on the side to get around them. They did not care. You had to figure it out. At one point, I was in the San Telmo market. It's a popular market on Sundays. And there were a group of 4 people facing me and my mom. We were walking towards the 4 people. There was one person in that group talking to them who had our back to us. The 4 people, someone in there looked at us, which signaled him to turn around and see that people were coming behind him. So what did he do? He sees us coming. The 4 people who are pretty much blocking the sidewalk don't move. He steps into the one empty space, and now it's a line of 5 people blocking the sidewalk, talking casually to each other. They're literally taking up every single space on the sidewalk, and they're next to a car that's parked right next to them. So the only way for us to get by is for some of them to move, or for me to put it in reverse, walk around them, walk around the car, get into the street and go around. I walked up on that man and yelled the loudest, excuse me, in his ear as well. Like the one who blocked our way on purpose, the way I screamed in his ear, excuse me, in Spanish, the like, get out my way in Spanish, and then start cussing him out in English. I was fed up. Yeah, I was so fed up because he saw us, and instead of being like, oh, humans, he was like, you don't get to pass? What is this? Okay, so point number 3 of why I won't be going back relates to this one too. We had a constant question of, is this racism, right? Is this racism or is it something else? The most common form of that question was, is this racism or is this terrible customer service? Is this racism or are you just really bad at your job? Like, what's happening? So still in San Telmo Market, we were meeting other people. So we had a time scheduled to be on, and we ordered an Uber, and we had 5 Ubers cancel on us. The Ubers can see my name. They can probably guess that I'm not from around these parts. I don't know if that's why they canceled. San Telmo Market is also a big tourist thing. It's not hard to guess that I'm not from around here. I don't know if that's why they canceled, but in the hour and a half that we were waiting to get a car, all these taxis were going by. We tried to flag down not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 taxis before we were successful. 7 taxis, 6 taxis saw us trying to flag them out empty. I'm not counting the ones that had people in them that didn't have the light on. 7 taxis that were free passed us by and didn't stop. Can you imagine how frustrating it is to sit there for 90 minutes and not be able to get a ride when all these taxis are passing you and empty? Saying, well, the US already know this experience. I've done that. I've had a very similar experience in DC. But if a question is it racism or terrible service, it's racism. I don't know Argentina, right? I don't know. Is this racism? Is this terrible service? You're an empty taxi. You don't get paid unless someone gets in the back seat. It's hard to say it's terrible service, right? Because you're not even like providing your service terribly. You're just refusing to give me your service. You're refusing to do the thing you get paid for me. 6 taxis refusing to do the one thing. Oh, speaking of terrible service, I went in a restaurant with a new friend of mine. Hi, Jessica. And we walked in, we sat down, someone brought us menus, and then no one came over for like 40 minutes. And we tried to wave people down and they would not come over. And it was like, eventually we just got up and left. And as we're leaving, everyone's behind the bar. As we're leaving them behind the bar, they don't say anything to us. I guess between the time they brought us the menus and the time that we left, someone had decided they weren't going to serve us. Is it racism? Is it terrible service? I don't want to have to figure that out on vacation. Okay, but the biggest problem, those are all like vacation inconveniences. This is the biggest problem. Their economy is crap. Their economy is tanking. It's doing really badly. But their economy wasn't great when I went 2 years ago, but there's a significant difference between now and then. Okay, so 2 years ago, went with my girlfriends, we ate, we drank, we shopped, everything was amazing. We We were surprised at how cheap everything was. We loved it. Beautiful. Yay. Can't wait to go back again. Come this time, different experience. And I think the economy has a lot to do with it. Because I guess they don't have a lot of faith in the Argentinian peso, people would rather be paid in US dollars than Argentinian pesos, which is fine if you know this in advance. If you're not coming from Mexico, where am I going to get US dollars, right? Like, if you know in advance, if you have US dollars, you're coming from, like, if you're coming from another country, if you're coming from Belize, how would, well, no, not Belize, that was a very bad example. If you're coming from England, they never say we'll accept pounds. It's like, it's this price in pesos and it's this price in dollars. But let's talk about the pricing. Okay. Because there were a large group of us coming from Antarctica, people asked and people knew there was something going on with the peso dollar exchange. They were interested in some luxury shopping. So the way it works right now is if, what can I use? We went to Louis Vuitton to check out what the prices are, what's going on there. But I'm going to tell you how money works basically on the streets. In cash, if you have US dollars in cash, you can exchange it for around 200 pesos for $1. But if you're taking money out of your ATM and you're getting it in pesos or charging it on your credit card, the official exchange rate is 100 pesos to $1. So you can get twice as much with the US dollar than you can with your credit card or with your debit card if you're going to get cash out of the ATM, pesos out of the ATM. Cool. So people were like, okay, that means that like things are going to be half price. Let's see what we can get at Louis. So Claire and I go to Louis, my friend Claire, and we're scouting for the people coming ahead of time. We're like, what's the deal here with buying things? Because, you know, our people are like, half price, let's do this. It's a sale. It is not a sale. The way Louis Vuitton handled it in Argentina is also what I saw in the streets, but without anyone really like clearly spelling it out. What they did is they doubled their prices, right? If this is $1 in the US, it should be 100 pesos. That is the technical exchange rate. For it to be even, the way they've done it is they doubled the price, right? So it is now 200 pesos. They double the price of all their products. It is 200 pesos now. So if you have US dollars and you're getting on the blue market, it's a black market for cash, called the blue market. If you have $1 US and you can exchange that for 200 pesos, you're paying the same price. But if you're paying on your credit card or you have to go to an ATM to get cash and you have Argentinian pesos, you're paying twice the price for the same thing. So either you're paying the same price you get in the US and other countries because you're paying in US dollars, or if you don't have US dollars, you're paying twice the price for the same product. The lady at Louis Vuitton was like, don't buy it here. Don't buy anything. Like, she was pretty much like, unless you have US dollars, it does not make, you'll be paying twice. Like that. She was the person that made it really obvious what was going on. She was like, no, unless you have US dollars, don't buy anything. Like, what would you, don't do that. And it was a really interesting experience. And so a lot of times go to places, do they take US dollars? What is the exchange rate? How much dollars do you have left? If you want to pay on a credit card, is this truly worth the experience, or are you paying twice the price for what you're getting? It wasn't like that 2 years ago. It was a really weird experience. That's not math I want to do on vacation. I don't want to have to figure out what's the exchange rate here? What's the exchange rate there? So we walked in a place like smaller stores and they're like, no, we don't take US dollars. And then I walked into Starbucks and like, yes, there's a sign. It's like, yes, we take US dollars. But the exchange rate was 90 pesos. Where next door, the cafe was 190. It was too much. Like, I feel bad for them that their economy is crashing and they don't have faith in their dollar and that they desire US dollars. But like, their answer was just raising the price of everything. The things that were cheap and good before, like I went to a restaurant, I'm not going to name them, but I went to a restaurant last time I was there, a steak place. It was one of the best meals I've had. We went back this time, more expensive, really bad food. I don't know if they were buying cheaper quality food. I don't know what's going on. But both me and my mom were like, this is not good. It's not good. I will say that I think Mexico City has spoiled me for a lot of other cities. I go to other cities now and I'm like, you cannot compare with Mexico City. But even when it was not a comparison, even the small things like, can I get a taxi driver to pick me up? So this is my long rant about why I won't go to Buenos Aires. I am sorry if this offends you if you're from Buenos Aires, but this was my experience. If you've been to Buenos Aires, I hope you had a better one. I definitely had a better one in January of 2019. This last time, I don't need to go back. I'm done. Y'all, that's it. Sorry to sound like a big old hater, but it's the truth. I don't want you going to Buenos Aires because you thought I had a good time there, because I did not. My mama didn't either. If you enjoyed learning about my experience in Buenos Aires, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll have more for you soon. Bye.